unpredictable Archon Paimon's ever seen. You never even had a chance to ask her anything. But that's a problem for future Paimon. That whole scene just now was really...
Don't mention it. I just happened to remember that there was such a law, so I did a little preparation, just in case. I didn't think it would actually come in handy. So, now do you see what kind of god Lady Farina is?
She can be a bit confusing at times, but she is still amenable to reason.
Anyway, Paimon had no idea you were a magician, Lyney. It sounded like you'll be performing at the Opera House, right?
I just know a few simple tricks I use to make a living. Lynette is my assistant. It will actually be my first time performing on the most prestigious stage in Fontaine, the Opera House.
But isn't the Opera House where criminal trials are held in Fontaine?
When there are no public trials being held, the Opera House hosts a variety of other performances. To the people of Fontaine, the line between a trial and a performance can be a little blurred. And speaking of performances, I would be remiss to forego this opportunity gifted by fate. Might I invite the two of you to see my performance?
My brother's always excited to make new friends.
Oh, sure. We don't really have anything to do now, and we wanted to go to the Opera House anyway.
Splendid. In that case, why don't we go together? I'll show you the way. I just have something to take care of first. You really mean it? Then I'll take you up on your offer. This is a magical item known as a magic pocket. Perhaps you can help me distribute them to the people here.
Huh? What are they going to use it for?
About that... You asked me before about the prophecy, right? Let me start by telling you a little more about what it entails. I'm not sure exactly when it began, but a prophecy has been circulating around Fontaine. It says that every person in Fontaine is born with sin. No matter how the nation of justice holds trial after trial, this sin cannot be absolved until one day, the water levels in Fontaine will rise, and the sinful people will slowly be drowned. In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the Hydro Archon will remain, weeping on her throne. Only then will the sins of the people of Fontaine be washed away.
That sounds pretty gloomy. Why are people in Fontaine born with sin? What is that supposed to mean?
There are lots of guesses. Some say that the ancestors of Fontaine stole the power of the seas and stirred its wrath. Others say that the people of Fontaine never heeded the first Hydro Archon's warnings and offended Celestia. But here in Fontaine, evidence is what matters. There hasn't been concrete evidence for any of these claims, so they can only be regarded as conjecture.
If even the people in Fontaine don't know what sin they committed, wouldn't it be better just to ignore the prophecy completely? Why bother feeling guilty all the time?
That's exactly what the people did at first. But in the last few years, the water levels in Fontaine have actually started rising.
Many places have already been completely submerged, and now lie beneath the sea.
Many people carry on with their lives as before and shrug it off as a natural phenomenon. But my family and I think that the people of Fontaine shouldn't ignore the possibility, which would end up sentencing them to death. We hope that at least the people who reside near the waterfront can move away before it's too late. So, we've started distributing magic pockets to them. As a magical item, these magic pockets have astonishing capacity. I'm sure they will come in handy when people are moving their belongings.
Oh, Paimon gets it! It's like preparing for a rainy day! But this is more than a bit of rain.
Perhaps only absolute power could ever contend with such a catastrophe. But who knows? We're just tiny specks in the grand scheme of things. Now, if you'd like to help, then please give these magic pockets to anyone nearby. Be sure to convince them to take it, regardless of what they say.